Trump says he's going on Joe Rogan's podcast, lauds him as a good guy. Best believe I'm gonna be watching it. I can't wait. He just recently did Schultz's podcast, the comedian, and that was awesome. I mean, that was an awesome video, and awesome interview, I should say. And so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him on Joe Rogan. But we're gonna talk a little bit about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so check me out there as well. All right, so let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from Kip Jones from Mediaite. He reports that former President Donald Trump said he would appear on Joe Rogan's podcast during a weekend interview, but offered no additional details as to when. During an interview with the Nelk Boys podcast that is set to air on Monday, Trump was asked about the potential he might make an appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, one of the most streamed podcasts on the internet, in the world, as a matter of fact. But during this weekend's interview, Trump was asked by Kyle Forgerd, sorry I messed up his name, but he said, quote, "You're doing a lot of podcasts recently, one that I would love to see you on. I think Joe Rogan has to have you on. Would you do that?" So let's just play the clip here. Here we go.
Yes, recently. One that I would love to see you on is, I think Joe Rogan has to have you on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Oh, sure I would.
I think Joe, like, besides us, Joe's
I think I'm doing it, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you are going to do Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I am.
Joe Rogan's the best in the game, for sure. And I think,
Did Joe become so well known because of the UFC? And he does a great job with that, right? What was it that made Joe the best?
During COVID, he was very outspoken on all the corruption going on during COVID. And I think that's personally when I started watching him a lot, too. And just, he's an honest guy, too, right?
He is.
So I think...
Good guy.
Well, Joe Rogan was like one of the first people to do it. He was like the first person back in the old YouTube, before we even knew what podcasting was. I think he was like one of the first podcasters. But really, he was just sitting around with a bunch of his friends and just talking about, smoking weed, DMT, wrestling. Ultimate Fighting. Sorry about that. UFC, and they would just sit down and have conversations, and then he would just have people on that he was interested in talking to, and it just became this really, really big thing. But Joe Rogan is legit the OG of podcasting.
Good guy, and I think you guys together would just.
And he's got a good voice. That's important.
Yeah.
And he's intelligent. He's an intelligent guy too. But Rogan has not yet commented to confirm or deny when or if Trump will appear on his hit show. Although his X account did post a poll asking if Trump should appear on the podcast Saturday evening. And here you go right here. Do you want to see real Donald Trump on the podcast? But Rogan said in July 2022 that he had no interest in elevating Trump by welcoming him on his Spotify podcast. But you got to understand, this was a long time ago. Things have changed now. Even Elon Musk has came out in support of Donald Trump. But he said, quote, "I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I've had the opportunity to have him on my show more than once. I've said no every time," Rogan said at the time. "I don't want to help him. I'm not interested in helping him." Last month, Rogan praised Vice President Kamala Harris's debate performance against Trump. He added of Trump's I'm sorry, I didn't even read this. Let me go back. He said, quote, "The difference in the debate was not a difference in who's going to have better policies, who's going to be better for the country," Rogan told his audience. "The difference in the debate, in my opinion, was who was better prepared." He added of Trump's performance, quote, "Someone needs to tell him you've got these tiny little windows and you should have all the words ready for those windows." The Trump made headlines in August when he took a shot at Rogan from his Truth Social account. He said, quote, "It will be interesting to see how loudly Joe Rogan gets booed the next time he enters the UFC ring. MAGA 2024, Trump wrote. But again, I'm excited. Hopefully he does do it. He said he's going to do it, so I believe he's going to do it. But let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.